So except for a few little details, my kitchen makeover update is complete. I spent about $1,000 US on this makeover, maybe a little bit more. I haven't done the final books on it, but a lot of the things I'll be able to move to another, to like my future kitchen if I ever renovate again. So to me, it was really worth it. And with the space the way that it is now, I can live with it in the long term. So it was a really good investment, and I can now focus on other rooms of the house. Bonita says hi. This piece here was in the kitchen, and then I moved it out because it was just a catch-all in the kitchen. On this side, it's a little bit more useful until I get a better solution. So my kitchen, nice and bright. I love how bright it is in here and how airy it is. So I've already done a video on the Great Wall of Storage, so I won't go over that again, but that is working fantastic for me. I'm constantly rearranging and moving things around, but the general concept of it is amazing. Like if I'm cooking or like I'm baking, I made banana bread the other day, I just grabbed the baking basket and everything's in there. So I absolutely love that. And then, so now this is nice and neat. So I bought myself a fridge in October. It was a weekend flash sale at Sears, and I saved 1,000 Canadian, so like 750 US. I must have known somehow that I was going to be staying and not moving, because I don't think I really want to move a fridge this expensive. But it was really the piece that I was missing, and a real gift to myself, but it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a side-by-side without an ice maker, because the ice maker, I wouldn't use it, number one, and number two, takes a lot of space. So this way I've got like all this freezer space here, and then I also have another freezer in another room. So I've got all the storage, and the fridge side has plenty of space for all the things that I wouldn't normally store in a fridge in a different climate, like the flour and the sugar and everything. And then the really nice feature of this fridge, this was like a bonus, is that it's a door and door. So I've got all my things that I use the most are right accessible like that in this little door. And that's a really nice feature. I mean, I don't think I would have paid extra for that, but the fact that it came with it was great. It was really hard to find a side-by-side in this size without the ice maker. There was a Samsung, which I never wanted to go with another Samsung fridge, although I don't have anything against Samsung in terms of TVs and stuff. Their fridges are not very good. So I had to go with the LG. So I'm delighted. I've had this fridge now, as I said, since October, and it hasn't betrayed me the way all my other fridges that I've had, and it was worth it. And then I've had this pantry here almost since I moved in. It's a pull-out pantry, and it's a really good purchase. Was one of the best things that I've bought. So that left me with this gap between the fridge and the pantry, and I looked for ages for a cabinet to go between. And even like trying to have something made was going to be really difficult, very expensive, just weird dimensions. And I happened to find this one on clearance somewhere, like a site that I would never have shopped at, and you just happen to have it. And I really like it because on one side you've got a broom closet, but it's completely separate from the other part. So on the other side I can have storage, like a food related storage, and it doesn't matter if there's dust on this side. So on this side I've got all my Pyrex and containers, and my little appliances, like I've got a kettle and a toaster, and my little waffle iron are in there. And so that it's really nice and neat, and I can find everything. And this was white when I bought it, and then this is contact paper, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it. And the contact paper came on beautifully, and it looks great, and it matches the kitchen. And I said, you know what, it'll last however long it lasts. It looks good. And then speaking of like the turquoise, this is an anti-fatigue mat. This just arrived today from from Amazon US. That finally dropped the price on it. So I knew I was going to have an anti-fatigue mat. I thought it was going to be black, and then I saw this one in turquoise, and the shipping was outrageous. So when they dropped the shipping, I jumped on it immediately. So that'll make my cooking marathons a lot more comfortable. Some of you may remember my blue cart that I had made when I first moved in. This was originally where this unit is, but now it's an island because I had a new top made for it. Look how beautiful this is. This is Parota wood, which is a local hardwood, food grade, mineral oil, and then beeswax on top to keep it pretty, but it's not gonna stay pretty because it's meant to be a big chopping board. It's meant to be used basically. So right now it's looking really good, but we'll see how long that lasts. But the idea was that it's removable, so my cart isn't damaged. Like it fits underneath here. There's these little bumpers that hold it down. So in the future, when I redo the kitchen, I can just have this part removed, and I will still have a big, beautiful cutting board for making pasta or pastries or whatever on. So this was quite expensive. This was like 3,500 pesos, but it's one of those like heirloom quality pieces, that like an investment piece. And then over here, I had all of the, I removed the doors that were here that were really nasty. Everything was soaked and humid and damp, and there was bugs. It was really, really messy and disgusting. So I opened all that up. I painted using just paint that I had left over. So that's why it's purple. It's just what I had, and it worked. And I had these shelves made for storage so that I could clear off some of the countertop. So this is still a work in progress. I want it to look a little bit neater, but compared to what I was dealing with before and having most of the stuff over there, it's just a lot more practical. So what I'm going to do with this one right here is I'm going to have another one probably made to go over top that I'm going to be able to put baskets to put more things in. Now you're going to say the microwave is really low. It really is ridiculously low. The problem is I'm going to bend down. There's a pipe right there. And moving that pipe would have been like a major renovation item. And this is supposed to be a temporary makeover. So I'm just getting my squats in when I use the microwave. It's not ideal. We looked at other options for putting the microwave, and this was the best option that wasn't going to require me to do a lot of moving around of things and like structural things. Like we did move, like there is that outlet there, and then what they did was they went through outside and they brought the wiring across and they gave me an outlet there. So that was like the only concession that I made, but at least I've got the microwave in the kitchen now on its own dedicated outlet. So I'm really happy about that. And then I'm going to use the storage underneath for pots, which is fine. And then, as I said, I'm thinking another shelf over the top, and it's going to be baskets, or it might even just be like a very narrow kind of space. I can put like my pans in, like my saucepans would probably be a really good option. So I'll talk to the carpenter about that. It's just not a huge priority right now. Kitchen, the sink area, lots of little things that I've done here. I bought this ages ago because I didn't have the storage underneath. I still think I'm going to keep it. It's just going to be organized a little differently. But it was like a perfect piece. It was supposed to be a cart on wheels, but I took the wheels off. And this is like my soap and my OxyClean for when I wash my whites, my towels, my dishcloths. This is kind of funny, but the paper towel holder is perfect there. Got to show my cleaning lady where things go. They go down in here. But for now, I kind of like having that here, and I'm just going to play with it a little bit and see how I want to live with it or not. I invested in a grout pan, and I redid all my grout with this grout pan, and it's not like perfect, but compared to what I had before, huge improvement. For 90 pesos, I was able to do the whole like counter area and around the backsplash around the stove. Totally worth it. Get a grout pan if you've got gross grout. The sink got a lot of upgrades. This is a soap pump, and this one has white vinegar that I use for my rinse water. New tap, new faucet with a hose. So this is like real big luxury. And then I had the hot water brought to the kitchen last year. So I've got hot water. This, like if I put the water, like the tap this way, then that's hot water. This is drinking water. It's like a pump. It's an electric pump, and it feeds into the bottles down here. Because I figured out that I do like a reverse osmosis system or something to soften the water. It's going to be too salty to drink. So I'm on the bottled water indefinitely, so I might as well. So this was only 1,400 pesos, and they're actually here in Mérida, and got really good reviews. And so far I'm really enjoying having the water right there at the tap. What else did I do over here? Oh, I redid some of the caulking around here, cleaned it all up, and that just makes it better because I was really at the point of like wanting to rip the sink out and replace it, and I said no, that's a major renovation, major expense, gonna have to wait. It's more sanitary in this climate to air dry dishes, so I usually always have dishes on the counter. So I bought this one right when I moved in, and I love the color. It just brightens up the counter. And I've been looking for another one to have extra space. And then this one came up at Walmart this week, which is almost the same color, and gives me extra space for the plates and things. So I'm always going to have the drying racks out. That's just, my mother drives her nuts. She's somebody, she'll take hers in and out of the cabinets like 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, but I just rather have them out. This week I did some painting because I had like a really ugly wooden hook here that I didn't realize was glued to the wall. So when I took it off, I took like all the plaster came off of this wall. So I had to have the plaster all patched up, and then I had some of the yellow paint left, so I repainted this, so you would never guess there was a problem. And then while I was doing that, I painted the arch this week because the arch wasn't painted, because we were trying to be stealthy and only paint what originally was beige. So now I've got, and this was used to be white, so now I've got it painted and it just looks a lot nicer and a lot cleaner. What else have I done? Oh my goodness, I've done my new ceiling fans, are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I've got a new range hood. This is my knife bar, which originally was stuck to the fridge, which doesn't work now. And I was worried about having it stuck to the stove, but even when the stove is hot, it's funny, the stove leaks heat like a sieve, and I can't even touch the buttons on it when it's that hot, but this hasn't been bothering it at all. So my knives are right there, they're safe, might as well. So I did more of that caulking, of that, grout pan over here, so that looks a lot cleaner. These came today with my mat. They're silicone oven mitts, and they replace my very disgusting oven gloves that I've had for years, that are the only thing that worked on cast iron, and these were lauded as being as good as the oven gloves, so I'm crossing my fingers that that's true. And you know, even these could have been any color and I would have bought them, but it just happened to have the turquoise. And this is the range that I bought when I originally moved in. I had a few people ask me if I'm planning on changing it, and I'm like, no, it's serving its function. The oven sucks. In the future, I will definitely be smarter, and I'll probably do an electric oven to go with a gas top. But the stovetop itself works great. I love my 6 burners. There's no reason to change that at this time. I'm perfectly happy with it. So then I've got this other unit here that I had made a couple years ago, which is working fine. I'm still going to do some reorganization on it, move some things around, but it's the right piece for the spot. I really like it. Got my coffee there. I've got my little supposedly stainless steel island, but it's not. I'm really cross about it. It's the finish on it is really crap. There's like rust on it. It's really, Costco really disappointed me. And then underneath here, I have laundry baskets and cloths and things. And I'm behind on my laundry because I had a plumbing emergency over the weekend and I had no water for a few days. And then the painters are here, which is a spoiler, but you might have noticed it earlier, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So I haven't been able to do laundry, so I'll get caught up on that in a few days. And then this is another cutting board that I bought recently. This is like a charity thing. And this one was like 1,000 something pesos, but beautiful. And it's like the other one, like you can see how, like if I was to cut on this one, it's the same kind of wood, you can see that it would make marks, but it still stays beautiful. So I'm still not convinced I'll be cutting directly on this, but I'm definitely gonna be using it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the kitchen. I don't think there's anything else. I think the only other thing was that I got on my hands and knees with a toothbrush and some caustic cleaner, and I cleaned up a lot of these grout lines on the ground. It didn't really last very well because they don't seal the grout here. So that's going to be something in the future that I can't wait to do. But it still looks better than it did. I mean, everybody who's been in this kitchen recognizes that. They go, oh my goodness, that's a big difference. So I'm just going to do another sweep. So I've got this door that goes to outside that I need to get myself a door stop for it. And the plan is, now that, again, spoiler, painting is going on, and I'm going to be able to start using this corridor outside because it's not going to be depressing and ugly, is I'm going to start working on like a container garden out there is the plan. And because I always intended that I was going to have this door open and fresh air and everything, and I've never really done it. I just don't like going out there. It's just awful. So now it's not gonna be so awful. Maybe I will actually make good on that promise. And then I think the container gardening is really the next logical step. So I hope that you enjoyed a tour of my kitchen. For me, like this, I'm just gonna do another little pan. It's not like a pretty kitchen like, you know, like you see up north or whatever, but it is extremely functional. I've really done a very good job of tailoring it to my needs and doing what I needed to make it work for the way that I cook and the way that I organize and keep my home and everything. And I'm perfectly fine with it right now. It's not the first priority, which people are very surprised, because everything that I would want to do at this point is primarily cosmetic. I mean, I don't even know how I would get this kitchen done more efficiently so that I don't have the fridge like all this way from the stove. I'm gonna want to get myself a proper kitchen designer to help me work on this. Like I sort of envision in my mind the fridge is probably gonna go over there, and then I'm thinking maybe it's gonna be a big island in the middle that's gonna have everything, is sort of what I'm thinking. But that's so far off in the future at this point. So I'm kind of leaving this project behind